Hi, I'm Gary.
Hello, I'm Leon, the grandfather.
We are Gary and...
The grandfather.
Hey, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while.
I know. We've been busy. It's summertime here, and
I was
lots
really
going on.
worried something happened to you.
And vice versa. God,
Went by your place, it was just so quiet.
I'm a quiet guy.
Saw crickets, didn't even see the cats outside.
I'm a quiet guy. Did you notice the flag? The flag was flying outside.
Oh, I didn't see the flag.
Flick it away there. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Things are good. No complaints. But I was thinking about something the other day, Gary, that I wanted to discuss with you. Some of my students, right, who coming to the end of the school year.
Yeah.
Some of them are graduating from high school, and they're afraid. Some of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going abroad. Some of them, some universities in Europe and what have you. And I thought to myself, gosh, what am I afraid of, right? Because really, the only person who can make me afraid of anything is me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no external fear. It's only inside of me. But you don't learn this until you mature, right?
Yeah.
You get a little bit older, because you always think it's your fault, it's your doing, it's that occurrence, that situation. But it's me that makes me afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, of course, the body, it gets terrified. I mean, the body explodes with fear. I mean, it does. You've got those endorphins just gushing through your system, exploding. But it's still me. And obviously, the people that do professional work, and that are dealing with trauma all the time, have trained themselves to not be overwhelmed with, bad situations, right? They can control it. The firefighters, the policemen, military personnel, the first responders, all of that. I mean, they're trained.
To overcome
that fear, that natural fear that we all possess. Heart, some people weigh like this, when they see something, right? But the average person doesn't experience that. But the greatest difficulty is overcoming the fear of my own life, I think, right? I mean, like, you think to yourself now, guy wakes up, probably is about 20 years old, and you go, holy God, I'm alive. Oh, now what? You got your parents telling you one thing, you got your professors telling you another, you got your girlfriend telling you something else, you got your siblings, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, they're telling you another thing. Gee, what happens to me? What does Leon decide, right? I'm afraid to act. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. So what are you afraid of?
Well, actually, by now in life, I'm not afraid of many things anymore.
Yeah.
That the older I've gotten, the more I've stopped worrying about things that are out of my control. As long as I decided that I was doing the best that I can do. And
the secret, right?
If you're doing the best that you can do, or if you can do better. I mean, years ago, it might have been talking to that cute girl in your algebra class, for example, asking her out date. Now, I'm not fearful of it. I think there's
No, I'm not fearful, because I know
no,
she will say no.
Well, there's profit for circumstances that or going in for a job interview or something.
Yeah.
There's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And there's the wrong way to do it.
For sure. For sure.
So I'm not going to be doing something where it's the wrong way. The time's not right or whatever.
That's right.
But it's not because I'm fearful or anything like that. Another a fear that's, I think a lot of people have, I used to have, is with speaking foreign languages. Where most people, when they learn foreign languages in school or whatever, and they're always afraid to open their mouth, someone's going to laugh at them. Or their teacher, instructor's gonna laugh, or...
And they do, by the way.
Or, no. No, they don't.
Sometimes they do.
No, they don't.
No, my experience, sometimes they do laugh.
No. But when I was in Germany,
yeah,
there was this one guy, never forget, his name was Alex. He was a Vietnamese American
Yeah.
guy, and his German
It's terrible.
was better than any of the other people in our foreign
Class.
exchange group.
Really.
And it was because he just went out into the world
And
of
spoke.
Germany and spoke.
Wow.
He didn't care if the grammar was correct or incorrect. He didn't care if he only understood 10% of the conversation. He just spoke, and just like that, he improved.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of us, we were a bit fearful then. Now, this is 25 years ago, I guess, or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not fearful of that anymore.
No, for sure.
And the one of the things that I am a bit fearful of still. You ready for this?
Mm.
Well, it's a two-part thing.
Mm.
I'm a bit afraid of heights. Okay.
I think so.
And because of being afraid of heights, it leads into the part two. And the heights thing, it doesn't really matter in where I am now. I don't need to ever skydive if I don't want to. I'm not afraid of riding in an airplane or anything. It's totally different. So I don't need to worry about skydiving or something like that. So it doesn't affect my life. But where it does come into play a bit is I like to cycle. And because of this fear of heights, sometimes if I'm on a very steep hill
Mm.
and have to go down on the very steep hill,
Hard.
that really, like one of my friends, he'll just cruise down like nothing,
Yeah.
like it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I'm there just slowly inching my way down, terrified the whole time. My
Yeah.
knuckles turn white,
Yeah.
fearful, thinking to myself, oh, please, please let me get to the bottom of this thing. That I'd rather, and that's how ridiculous it is I'd rather climb up the hill, and that's not fun on a bicycle. That's not fun at
It's
all.
hard, actually.
Yeah, it is very hard. I'd rather climb up than go down.
Wow.
That's kind of how my fear is.
Huh.
And if it's more like a more enclosed, slower,
Track, so to speak.
track, so to speak,
Yeah.
then if the grade isn't so steep and it's not so open,
Mm.
then I'm not really bothered by it.
Mm.
But as soon as it's really, really steep and it's really open, you look over, you can see the city lights off down below in the distance, and just this big cliff that you could easily like fly over. Yeah, that's terrifying to me. That really is.
Mm. And you speak of learning languages. Actually, I had the experience learning Polish that I've said some horrible things in Polish, and the whole pharmacy in this case erupted in laughter. And they had a big laugh about my bad grammar, and I actually I didn't. It was good for me because I didn't feel afraid after that, because I was after you made that mistake, it's almost like you're at the wall of fear, so to speak, and now you can continue. Right? I had a big problem growing up public speaking. That was
Okay.
that was a big one for me, and so the only way I overcame public speaking was by speaking. Right. And so today I can speak, and I still get nervous, and I think it's a good thing in a way, because it actually makes my skill set a little better. But public speaking, I have a lot of respect for people that speak publicly, because it is not an easy phenomenon at all. Right.
Well, with public speaking, I think that's normal for people to have
For sure.
a bit of a fear with public speaking. I think I had some fear back when I was in university or whatever, but then when I went to became a teacher, well, you're not talking in front of I teach children, so I'm not talking in front of a huge crowd of adults, for example, but at the same time you're getting up there, you're talking in front of people. I've done adult classes as well, and with that, and then also with my guitar playing, when I first had done some open mics, the first few times I ever did an open mic, I felt so terrified to be performing in front of people, and then
Having them judge you.
as well as
everything
you're
else.
thinking you don't want people to be watching you,
Yeah, yeah.
and then, but after doing it for a while again, just like the public speaking,
Yeah, you get used to it.
you get used to it. I don't worry about any of that at all. I'm gonna be performing on Saturday, and
Do we have an address? Do we selling here?
just just as a bit of an aside, I was at an open mic a few months back. There's this young guy, local guy who was his first time playing, singing, maybe 18 years old, 17, 18. And then just partway through, he just forgot the,
The lyrics.
the lyrics
Oh my gosh.
and just
Froze.
stopped, froze. And then everyone at that point stand up, gave him a standing ovation, cheered for this guy, you know,
And he was fine.
and he was fine. And I think that we've all been there.
Sure.
And when you've all been there,
Yeah, people are on your side.
people are on your side because
Yeah.
they know what it's like. And we've all been there at some point, sometime.
Yeah, people are on your side for sure. Absolutely. You know, it's an interesting thing about putting yourself out in that sense, right? Because I
Mhm.
think that we have to do it if we're going to have any social intercourse, run a business, do anything. We're
Yeah.
going to have to put ourselves out in the world. And
Mhm.
if not, you're going to be a fool, right?
Yeah.
If I can tell you a bit of a funny story. Going to university, you know how you exchange gifts, the cheeky gifts at Christmas time, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was given a set of undershorts, a pair of undershorts with hearts on them, hearts. And so, you know how you're a student, whatever, laundry, kind of, you
Mm.
put it off. I have no shorts left but these undershorts.
Nice.
And this one particular day, the day I wear them, I got to give a speech, serious speech. So I go to give my speech, and I start off rather seriously, and there's some guffaws, some snickers, and then I proceed a little bit further, and there starts to be a little bit more, and finally there starts to be some laughter, and I got a little bit irritated, and I said, well, what are you laughing at? This is a serious topic. And somebody points down, and my shorts, or my pants were unzipped,
Oh no.
and the hearts were sticking out. So everyone could see that I was wearing my undershorts were hearts. So I was very embarrassed, to say the least. So, yeah. But like public speaking, all of this, you can overcome it. Because it's who creates my fear? Myself. Anyone in these professionals like we were talking about before, they know this, right?
Well, I think that, like, going back with that, the heart situation, that's a great way to then take that into laughter and then boost your, depending how you react, boost your confidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Say, yeah, well, you're right. You know, I am wearing these undershorts with hearts. They're my favorite. What are you wearing?
Yeah, that's right. You show me now. I want to see you, mademoiselle. What are you wearing? Yeah, you show me now.
I mean, say, oh, hearts? You're surprised I'm wearing hearts? You thought I'd have leopard prints, didn't you?
Yeah, terrible.
I think that this is going away from fear a bit, but I think it's kind of related. That I think when I meet a lot of people take themselves too seriously.
Absolutely.
And they can't laugh at themselves. And I think if you can't laugh at yourself, well, that sets yourself up for, of course you're going to be fearful, because anytime you make a mistake or do something that's as silly as, like you said, I think everyone's been there where they left their fly down or whatever,
Sure.
that, you know, suddenly it becomes a big crisis. And it shouldn't be. Everyone's been there.
No, for sure.
So,
I was doing my yoga chanting this morning, and you know, you breathe deeply in this, like this, and I thought to myself, at one point, I don't know what came over me. I went, And I thought to myself, anyone that ever, any traditional serious person listening to yoga, and they would go, "What has happened to this man?" But then I burst into laughter. So you gotta laugh, Gary. You gotta, because life's funny. Of course, it's deathly serious too, but it's also very, very funny.
But if you take yourself too serious,
I don't.
No, neither do I.
No,
but that removes a lot of the. I mean, think about that. If you go into it not worried, if you go into something, someone says, "Oh, you want to do blah blah blah,"
Yeah.
and maybe you've never done it before, or you're not good at it, or
Whatever.
you haven't done it for a long time.
Yeah.
If you go into it not caring if you fail
Yeah.
or you don't, and it's not something that's consequential, then suddenly there's no fear
That's right.
because you have nothing to lose.
Yeah. Or even if it is consequential, it doesn't matter. It's only your own value.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I wrote a driver's test
Mm-hmm.
here, and it was written in a language that they call English, but it's not English. And when I finished, I told myself, just before I go accept, I told myself I failed. And I go click, and it goes pass. Yeah, true story. And I went downstairs, see my friend, he's smoking his cigarette, he's walking back and forth. You failed, right? And because he knew I didn't study. He had studied for months. And I hadn't studied at all. And I said, nope, passed. And then his eyes lit up like this. Well, I failed. And he'd failed the test. And he was angry. Angry. Yeah. And I didn't care because I thought I would fail, but I passed. So,
Congratulations.
yeah. But so it makes you think to yourself, though, doesn't it? Where you have to place the emphasis in life, right?
Yeah.
So, but we control the fear is the point. But but you need to train yourself to control your body's reaction, because the body will at least in my case, I find that when my body gets nervous, it tends to make my mind nervous. So if my heart is racing, as a rule, I tend to get nervous. So it's an important thing for me, at least.
Well, you need to then
calm the body.
That's what I was gonna say. You need to find a way to calm yourself down.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what fear. I think once I learned those points that I mentioned earlier, not take yourself too seriously, and I think I did overcome most of my fears.
Sure. And why not? Really?
Yeah, and the other one, when I realized, like I said, with the language learning or the public speaking or music or whatever, that most of the people are on your side.
Absolutely.
And the people who aren't on your side, it's because they've never been there. They've never been in that experience.
They've never had the guts to try it.
I mean, I know some people who, they say, well, like, you're in America, speak English. And they forget, for example, people like this, they forget about, okay, so you have a job, you're working for peanuts full-time to support your family, and then after your full-time job, which is probably hard work as well,
That's right.
not a very nice job for minimum wage, and then you go from that into your second full-time job, which is taking care of your family, if you have kids or whatever. Then you have responsibilities to your spouse, and then on top of that, you're supposed to be, memorizing verb tenses and stuff, especially when you're not even going to be speaking that language in the household, and probably where you're working in the factory, you're going to be working with other people from your same background. It makes it, really hard.
Yeah.
And so I think we do need to...
Gary, if I could just digress for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think, tell me what you think about this, but I think at 20 years of age or so, we're faced with three fundamental questions, right?
Okay.
Like, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
What's my mission?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when I die? And the first two I can resolve. I know why I'm here, because I'm unique. There's no one like me, there never has been, never will be. But I'm wrong. I've got to work on me to become a better human being, for sure.
Sure.
Right? The second one, what's my mission? Get my notebook out, I document every day. Eventually I will find my mission. I will find what I'm supposed to do with my life. I believe. I have, you have, I believe the average person can do this. The third one, what happens when I die? Now, that's to be resolved privately, because each of us has the answer within as well. And I believe that is in a very precious relationship, special relationship with God, in my case, in your case. Other people have a different view, right? But certainly there is a God, certainly there's something more than me. But I think that's the issue that I read. So many people are afraid of. They're afraid to die. I say to myself, how bizarre. Why not be afraid to live? Because when you're dead in this reality. Where you transcend is a different issue. Be concerned about being alive, doing some good for your family and the society, right? Don't be concerned about your death. Live a good life. God will look after you. Say your prayers. You know what I'm saying? You agree?
I've come across that a lot, yes. Especially with younger generations, people. I think, I'm not judging anyone. Everyone can have their own beliefs. It's fine by me. But I have some friends and know some people who are younger who are atheists, for example, and
I'd be afraid if I was an atheist.
They
personally,
you know, with this you only live once attitude, and you know, I've talked to some people who are worried about what will happen in the after they die. As far as I'm concerned, well, I like living. I'm quite enjoying things, you know. So, but at the same time, I also figured that, you know, when the time comes, my God will take care of me, and that's that. Things will be sorted out. So, I'm not worried about it.
I saw a rabbi interviewed recently, and I think he really struck me as interesting, because he said, you know, remember that when there's life, there's always life. And when there's death, there's always death. So you're alive, so there will always be life. And I thought, what a comforting view of the cosmos, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there will always be life. Be it may, if that's in a reborn body, immortal soul, or in your DNA in a tree, right? You know, kind of a nice concept, I felt.
Well, another thing, I know some people have this situation, and again, sometimes I had, maybe in university, I had this again, where you had that, you know, the situation. You had the one class, and the one professor, and you had the project, or the paper, the exam, and you just thought, man, that did not go well at all. I hope that it doesn't really bollocks things up and impact, you know.
My overall score.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
you know, one thing that I've also, as I've gotten older, I try not to worry about. I try not to solve problems I don't have. You know.
That sounds like Mark Twain.
And you know, I like, I've known people, for example, I have a friend, and he says that, you know, maybe he wants to, he sees somebody, he wants to ask out on a date, right?
Yeah.
And then, so she's over there sitting there alone, do it, you know. Well, but what if she says no? Well, then she says no. But what if she laughs at me? Or what if her boyfriend comes out of the bathroom and comes over and
kills me?
Yeah, and then with each thing, with each what if, it gets worse and worse and worse. What if he, before he kills me, he comes over and takes out a knife and starts, you know, castrating me?
Cuts my eye out.
And then it gets worse and worse and worse with each one. And I'm thinking, in a worst case scenario, and this is very worst case scenario, she gets angry at you and calls you a name and says, let me alone. That's the very, very...
But he still doesn't go over.
Yeah, he still doesn't go over. And that's the very worst situation. Somebody laughs at you, so what?
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, that...
I'm at this drop-in center in Paris, in France, and I asked this girl to have, the most beautiful girl in the world, to have coffee with me, and she said yes, and I couldn't believe it. I said, what? and she said, well, I'll have coffee with you. So we went. So I can't believe that she's really said this.
You said
so,
what?
So I went and we went across the street to this little coffee shop, and she was wearing. She had long, beautiful hair, and she smelled like lilacs. Honest to God, and she's wearing a white dress with red flowers. Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm in a total state of disbelief. I don't deserve to have coffee with the most beautiful girl in the world. And as I'm thinking this thought, the hand starts to go like this, and the leg is like this. The leg is twitching, and I said, and I get the hand off the table. Calm yourself down. Calm yourself down. No. So the hand comes up. They bring the coffee, and I touch the table, and the coffee goes. Yeah, but it doesn't fall on her dress. It just falls on the table, and the waiter comes over, cleans it, and I apologize to the girl, and everything's fine. I'm safe. I'm safe. No, you don't deserve to be having coffee with the most beautiful girl in the world. And it starts again, like this. Starts again. The leg, and the leg comes up, touches the table. Coffee goes everywhere, and this time.
Oh.
Falls on her dress. Coffee. Did I get a second date? Nope.
Game over.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Therefore, don't have the moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Don't have a date with the most beautiful girl in the world and feel like a loser.
Well, that goes back to that confidence thing. You know, I have a. It reminds me of this friend I have where we do music together.
Yeah.
And we'll do open mics, and if I'm singing songs, I never have problems singing, playing, and remembering my words, my lyrics. But he'll be up there playing, and then if he's singing, in the back of his mind he's thinking, oh, I'm going to do it this time, I'm going to make it through. Because we'll rehearse previously, right?
Yeah.
And he'll have problems like remembering the lines.
Lyrics,
yeah. And he's going to think to himself, okay, I'm going to do it this time, I'm going to make it through. And just as that pops into his mind that he's safe, he's going to make it through, bam, he forgets. It's happened so many times. And it just reminds me of the same with that, your coffee story, self-fulfilling prophecy because of lack of confidence or this fear of failure or...
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's something else I think it's kind of interesting. You ever know, like you ever think about this, that, well for me personally, I've never shot a proper gun. I've never fired a proper gun. Mm-hmm. I've never... And then, as another example, you know, think about... okay, I've never driven a boat, you know, for example.
Yeah.
But you'll watch all those movies, you know,
yeah,
those action movies and the thrillers.
Yeah.
And some guy will just randomly, you know, big tough guy, you know, the hero, and he'll just come over, he'll grab you, throw you off your whatever you're driving, and hop on and start driving, you know, and then grab some biases, you know, alien weapons, start shooting, firing away. And you're thinking, well, if I was in that situation,
I'd be the same.
you know, you're thinking, now how real is that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Life's funny. But time is running. getting late.
Yes, it is. All right. So, what are you fearful of?
Yeah, what
It's
are
getting
you?
late. It's
Yeah.
getting dark. It's getting scary.
Scary. I used to. Last story. I used to sleep in the bottom bunk, and my brother slept in the top bunk before we got our own bedrooms and whatever. I got older and parents bought another house. Blah blah blah. So I'm just going to get. I really have to go to the washroom. I'm just going to get out of the bed, and my brother would whisper, "Watch out for the boogeyman." And I, the boogeyman. Oh no! Oh no! What a choice! It's either your mother being angry at you for going to the bathroom in the bed, or you're gonna get destroyed by the boogeyman, eaten by the boogeyman, stolen by the boogeyman. What a challenge for a 3-year-old child. So inevitably I'd stay in the bed and wait till the wee hours of the morning when the light came at 5:30, and then we'd go to the washroom, right? Afraid of the boogeyman. You know what? Gary, you know what? There are no boogeymen.
Well, actually, that reminds me of something. But this is one that maybe you should be a bit fearful of. But I'm not going to go into details publicly here. But there was a guy who contracted with us to do a job at our house when we were younger, a construction job. And
Not the boogeyman.
well, they left the one machine. It was like a bobcat or something. Left it there,
Never came back.
and then, well, he ended up with legal trouble.
Yeah.
And then, so my brother and I, it was the summertime. We didn't have school, so you know what we used to do in the summers is we used to sleep in my room, you know, together, and we'd stay up late playing video games and drinking Mountain Dew, and then just the air conditioner. I'd stay up really late, and then, you know, our big fear at the time. It wasn't the, you know, bogeyman or robbers or anything. The big fear was, you know, that we were gonna get busted, you know, because sometimes my dad would wake up at 3 a.m. or something, and that was about the cutoff. If we were still up at that point, then we were screwed, because if he saw the lights on or heard any noise,
Yeah, he'd be
when
angry.
he went up to go to the bathroom, he'd be angry. And then especially, he'd be up again around 5 or 6, go to work.
Yeah.
He'd come back at lunchtime to eat lunch, and then there were times when we'd still be in bed, and that's when we'd really be in trouble, you know. So so that's what we were fearful of. But this one time, playing some games and talking, it's getting to be about 2:30, wee hours of the morning. I say to my brother, I say, stop. I said, stop. Stop scaring me, Gary. I said, stop, really? I said, being serious. We were teenagers. And he thought I'm just joking. I said, no. I said, stop. I said, and I just kept like, grab him. I said, look out there. Look out through the curtains at the window. I said, do you see something? And he said, no. I said, well, take look again. Look again. And he looks, and we see these 2 big headlights there in our driveway.
Wow.
And then we hear a corridor slam shut. Yeah, that guy gets out. And we were just frozen, looking out at the window, watching that guy. And we're frozen, we don't know what to do. We want to go wake up
Your father, yeah.
my father
Yeah.
and my mother, but at the same time, we don't want to leave because we don't want,
Yeah.
we want to know to see where that guy is. We don't,
Yeah.
you know, so we're just frozen.
Yeah.
We can't do anything. And he walks over to that machine, you know, and looks at it, and then he gets back in the car. He drives away.
Mm.
Well then, you know, well that night was quite restless for both of us, of course. We told our parents what we saw the next day. And then, the weirdest thing, because a few days later, we all went to bed. Well, and let me just say, at this time we had some dogs. You know, Siberian Husky. We might have had a Newfoundland at that time too. And
didn't bark.
no, they didn't bark. But the Siberian Husky, she was one of those dogs that you wouldn't want crossed. She was a really good guard dog. So we never really felt fearful
Yeah.
because, you know, we had these dogs, and this one was a really good guard dog. But a few days later, we had gone to bed, and the next day we woke up, the machine was gone. So it was quite obvious, it's either him or somebody he knew had gone over
Took the machine.
to scout it out, and then, you know,
Wow.
take it back. Yeah.
But you didn't. Your family experienced no losses, though.
No, we didn't expect. No, that we weren't robbed or anything. But that was really creepy. Let's just say that unnerving. Yeah.
Yeah, the adventures of life. Ah,
Oh, yep, that's it. All right. Well, Gary out.
the grandfather out. Bye bye. God bless.
Good night.
Good night.